What is up, everyone, and welcome back. A subscriber made a comment on one of my recent Dir En Grey videos and said that they feel like I shift into a more emotional vocabulary when I do a Dir En Grey video. And I thought about it, and they're absolutely right. I do shift into a more emotional vocabulary, and I do focus more on that emotional connection when I'm listening to a Dir En Grey video. The same thing happens when I listen to any of Coheed and Cambria's music, or when I do a Gazette track, or when I cover Alter Bridge, or when I hear another one of my favorite bands, the mighty Evergrey. Because while the musicianship and the songwriting is important, and a big part of all of those aforementioned bands' sound, it's the emotional connection, the emotional content, the lyrics, and what their subject matter is that is such a big part of their sound. And by doing videos for those bands on the channel, it's opened me up even more and had a dramatic impact on how I approach each band I listen to, especially one that I have that level of familiarity with, like bands like Dir En Grey and Coheed and Cambria and Gazette and Alter Bridge and bands like Evergrey and others that really do focus on that and make that such an integral part of what they do. And it's led me to really try to understand bands more. I used to go with every video completely cold of a band I hadn't heard before. I wouldn't do any research. I wouldn't provide any information. I'd just go at it and see where the experience takes me. And while I like that approach, listening to a lot of these bands and truly understanding them, I feel like having a bit more information, having a bit more context, and knowing what they're trying to accomplish really will have more of an impact on what I'm capable of saying and what I'm able to present to everyone in a video. And truly, I don't know if that revelation, that evolution of me as a critic and a reviewer would have happened as quickly if I hadn't had so many people suggesting these bands and gone on these journeys. It's also truly made me really try to focus on each individual band. And while I'll mention influences and what I'm hearing and compare and throw in some comparisons, it really is taking each band as an individual and seeing what they're capable of. And that's also opened me up to bands like Architects, who are incredibly technical and a very talented band, but the emotional side of them and that part of their journey in each track is such a huge part of who they are as a band. And it's that intangible, it's that finding the emotional connection with each song and understanding that emotional connection is truly why so many fans gravitate towards these bands, and embracing that connection and focusing on that and pointing that out in each video that I do. That's important. So certainly with those bands, I realize as I think about it, that's why I focus on that, because it is such a massive part of what those bands are doing. And when I first heard Dir En Grey, I wasn't aware of that. It took listening to stuff like Behind a Vacant Image and Blossoming Beelzebub, and of course when I go to list songs, I go into a complete brain fart. Jealous, Jessica, just so many amazing tracks that these guys have that are just full of this raw, powerful, haunting, emotional connection. One of the subscribers said that they feel like, or that they read an interview that Coe feels like he screams for people who can't scream for themselves. And that's why that's one of the things he gets so emotional with in each concert. And I completely understand that, and I think that's amazing. Looking at Claudia Sanchez, the guitar player, vocalist, main man for Coheed, that guy wears his emotions on his sleeve. And each one of those records is filled with personal experiences with so many different emotions: anger, pain, sadness, sorrow, despair, hope, happiness. And he does such an amazing job, along with the rest of the band, of writing music that is able to convey that in a catchy way and putting all that stuff out there. And he's written tracks about band members that he's lost. See, Domino the Destitute, I know as an example of the loss of Mike Todd. There's also a track, name escapes me, I'm pretty sure it's on No World for Tomorrow, that was written about former, now current drummer Josh Eppert, and all the stuff written about his wife and his ex-girlfriends and all of that. Looking at Architects, they wrote songs about the loss of their former guitar player, and you can feel that pain, you can feel that hurt, you can feel that anguish. And that's why so many fans gravitate towards them, and they're able to do what they do in the scene, in that metalcore scene that they're doing. And they're such incredible, they're pioneers of that style of metalcore. The Gazette, another one of those bands that's always tricky, because while the music might not show that darkness, it's the lyrics and the vocal melodies and the delivery that take on all those different emotions: the darkness, the pain, the anguish, the sorrow. And from doing that, and thankfully from talking to so many of you major fans about that, and understanding that when I go into those videos, there is that connection, especially from the fans, that there is a certain amount of reverence that has to be paid, and attention that has to be paid to those tracks, because there is such a strong, incredibly emotional connection. Video I did that I've heard of a song that I've heard before that's had a really strong reception here on the channel, that was in tribute to a buddy of mine who had just lost his grandmother, was by Alter Bridge. And that song, and so many of Alter Bridge's songs, have that personal connection. The song by Alter Bridge was In Loving Memory, which is written by Mark, the guitar player / one of the principal songwriters, about the loss of his mom. Blackbird, another big one, was written by vocalist, guitar player Miles Kennedy, about the loss of his friend. And they're another band that us fans hang on to, the emotional connection and lyrical connection, that part of them, so much. And doing these bands makes me realize that when I do a video, it's really important, based on who I'm covering, to really pay attention to those intangibles and to the things that might not be so obvious as the musicianship. And it forces me to look deeper when I do things, which can be hard when I'm doing a first listen to a track. But like there's tracks like I'll do in a favorites video every now and then where I've had a chance to go back to them and allow them to resonate with me. And really there winds up being so much more there. Another band I'll mention, because the record that I have from them is so incredible, and they truly do embody that emotional connection as well, is a Portuguese band by the name of Legacy of Cynthia. I've done some content on them. I did a whole run through of their album Danse Macabre, and the music is great, but man, the emotion and that side of things in their music is just unbelievable. So I want to thank all of you so much that have gotten me to do content on the aforementioned bands, because it's made me a better person. It's made me a better critic. It's made me a better reviewer, and has really allows me to tap into that side of things, that emotional side of things when I do these bands, and to find that beauty in music. Emotions have always been a big part of music for me. It's why I listen to the stuff that I listen to. It's why I've been a fan of music for so long. But it's nice as a critic to be able to dig in and find that, and have that part of it, that aspect of the music, allow me to give a better review or a better take on a song that I might not like as much if I didn't have the emotional connection to it. And on the flip side, I found that if I can't emotionally connect to a song that I hear, I'm not going to like it as much as a track that I can connect to. So if I can't find that connection and I can't establish that bond, then I'm not going to like it as much as tracks that I can grab onto emotionally. And sometimes my opinion will suffer because of it. But reading that comment brought all this up. I wanted to shoot a quick video and share that. And what do you guys think? I know there's so many strong opinions about these bands, and I'd be really curious to hear your opinions on the bands that I've mentioned that you love. So, thank you guys. I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you to my law enforcement, military, veterans, and first responders for what you guys do every single day. As always, you've been awesome. I have been Baldman. I'll see you in the next one. Be excellent to each other. Keep head banging.